Your comfort zone is not your friend. It's the quiet trap that looks harmless but steals your future. One easy decision at a time. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never leave what feels familiar. They wake up each day and do just enough to get by, but not enough to grow. If you've been doing the same things, thinking the same way, and wondering why life feels stuck, this is the reason. Your comfort zone is killing your potential. You don't grow when life feels easy. You grow when it's tough. You grow when you feel the pressure and still show up. Staying comfortable might feel good for now, but it won't build the life you want. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You're either repeating the past or building the future. This message isn't for the people who want to stay the same. This is for those who are ready to do something different. So ask yourself right now, are you living your potential or just surviving in comfort? Watch this video if you're ready to stop playing small and finally take back control of your life. This might be the wake-up call you've needed. Number 1. Staying comfortable now is costing you real growth. It really is. And you know it. You can feel it, because deep down, you're not satisfied. You wake up with this quiet voice inside you that says, I could be doing more. But then what happens? You go right back to doing what's easy, what's familiar, what doesn't challenge you. You fall back into the same routines, the same decisions, the same thoughts, and every day you stay there, comfort takes another piece of your potential. See, comfort is attractive. It feels safe. You don't have to think too hard. You don't have to struggle. But here's what I've learned, and I'm talking real life now. Every person I've met who built something meaningful in their life had to break free from comfort. They had to stretch themselves. They had to do things they didn't feel ready to do, because growth only starts when comfort ends. If you want real change, you can't wait for it to feel good. It won't. Discipline isn't comfortable. Sacrifice isn't comfortable. Telling yourself the truth isn't comfortable. But these are the things that pull you forward. And here's the danger. If you stay comfortable long enough, you start to believe you're doing fine. You start to lie to yourself. You say things like, I'm okay. At least I'm not doing badly. But you know what that is? That's settling. That's you locking the door on your future while pretending it's open. You weren't made to just get by. You weren't built for routines that drain your energy and keep you playing small. You were made to grow, to get better, to feel the strength that comes from doing what's difficult. But that only happens when you say, enough. Enough of playing it safe. Enough of living the same week over and over again and calling it a life. Enough of protecting your comfort while sacrificing your progress. You have to wake up and be honest with yourself. Ask the tough questions. What are you avoiding? What area of your life have you ignored? Because it's uncomfortable to face it. Your health, your money, your discipline, your purpose. Be real about it. Because nothing changes until you get honest. And most people never grow because they keep protecting the very things that are holding them back. You've got to start doing things that push you. Not once, not when it's convenient. Every day. If you don't wake up with something hard to do, something that tests you, you're not growing. You're just passing time. And one of the most dangerous things you can do is mistake movement for progress. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're improving. Real improvement comes from pressure, from challenge, from stepping into the discomfort and staying there long enough to change who you are. Now, people often say, Jim, I'm afraid of failing. But here's the truth. Staying the same is the real failure. Waking up year after year and not becoming any stronger, any wiser, any better, that's the failure. That's what should scare you. Because time's moving whether you grow or not. Time doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your fear. It keeps ticking. And if you don't use it to build something, it will pass by while you shrink. You've got to take ownership of your time. You've got to stop spending your mornings on comfort and start spending them on discipline. You've got to stop saying I'll do it later and start saying I'll do it now. If something's hard to do, that's a sign you should do it. If something makes you uncomfortable, that's exactly where your growth lives. Every time you avoid it, you lose. Not just in results, you lose confidence. You lose respect for yourself. And nothing eats away at a person faster than losing respect for their own word. You've got to earn your own respect every day by showing up, by doing what's difficult, by following through when your feelings say stop. You don't need anyone else to believe in you. You need to believe in the person you're becoming. That belief is built through effort, not talk. It's built when you decide, I will do what I said I would do, no matter how I feel. And you don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need a massive breakthrough. What you need is to start with one hard thing today. One thing you don't feel like doing. Do it, and do it again tomorrow. Stack those wins, stack those uncomfortable choices. That's how you get momentum. That's how you stop killing your potential and start building it. Small disciplines lead to big results, but they have to start now. Not when it's easier, not when you feel ready. Now. So look at your day. Look at your choices. Are they pulling you forward or keeping you still? Are you investing your time or wasting it? Are you choosing to grow or choosing to stay in your bubble and hope things change on their own? If you keep waiting for motivation, you'll keep wasting years. Discipline isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, one action at a time. It starts with doing what you don't want to do and repeating that until it becomes who you are. And don't expect people to push you. Most people won't. Not because they don't care, but because they're stuck too. If you want to break free from comfort, you'll have to do it alone at first. And that's what makes it powerful. Because once you break through, you'll never go back. Once you experience the power of growing through discomfort, you'll never settle for anything less. So today, draw the line. Tell yourself the truth. Say, I'm done choosing easy, and mean it. Then act on it. Make today uncomfortable on purpose. Wake up earlier, work longer, focus harder. Show yourself that you can live without needing everything to feel easy. You're stronger than you think, but strength is built, not found. And if you want to build it, you've got to step out of the very thing that's been holding you back all this time, your comfort. Step out, and start growing for real. Number 2, you will never grow if you avoid discomfort daily. That's not opinion. That's reality. If you're always doing what feels easy, what feels normal, and what you're used to, then you're simply repeating the same version of yourself. Growth happens when you step into something new, something challenging, something that demands more from you. If you avoid that kind of effort, then no matter how much you wish for progress, it won't come. Growth doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to action. And that action usually starts by doing something you don't want to do. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's your signal. When something feels hard, when something stretches you, when it makes you nervous or uncertain, that's the exact place where change begins. Most people run from that. They say, I'm not ready. They say, maybe later. But later turns into never. If you keep avoiding the uncomfortable things, you stay stuck. You stay small. You stay in habits that keep you behind. And each day you do that, your potential slips further away. Not because it's gone, but because you're not reaching for it. If you want to be stronger, you have to choose the things that feel difficult. That's how you build real growth. You don't build mental toughness by avoiding pressure. You build it by facing it over and over until you realize you can handle more than you thought. The people who grow fast, the ones who improve their lives, don't do it by accident. They do it by taking on the uncomfortable moments on purpose. They don't wait for things to get easier. They get stronger so they can handle what's hard. Comfort is addictive. Once you start choosing it every day, it becomes your default setting. You'll make excuses to protect it. You'll stay in situations that don't challenge you. You'll convince yourself you're doing okay, when deep down you know you're stuck. And the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to break out of it. You stop trusting your ability to grow. You stop believing that discomfort leads to something better. You start to believe this is all you're capable of. And that lie can stay with you for years if you let it. You don't need a major breakthrough. You don't need to change your life overnight. What you need is to stop running from the work. Stop skipping the things you know will help you. Wake up earlier, even when you're tired. Speak up, even when you're nervous. Push yourself, even when it feels uncomfortable. It's not about how perfect you are. It's about how often you choose growth over comfort. Every time you do, you take a step toward your potential. And every time you avoid it, you stay where you are. Look at the results in your life. Where you're growing, you've probably been challenged. And where you're stuck, you've probably been avoiding discomfort. It's not complicated. If you want new results, you need new actions. If you want new actions, You have to train yourself to stop running from what's hard. Nobody gets better by hiding from effort. Growth is earned, not wished for. You don't just become a better version of yourself because time passes. You become better when you face things that test you and refuse to quit. Every time you choose comfort, you pay for it in silence. You feel it in your self-respect. You feel it in your energy. You feel it when you lay down at night, knowing you took the easy way out again, and it eats at you, slowly. But when you choose discomfort, you feel the opposite. You may feel tired. You may feel challenged, but you also feel proud. You feel like you moved forward. You feel your mind getting stronger, your decisions getting sharper, your standards getting higher. And that's what this is really about. Raising your standards, making a personal rule that you don't back down just because something's hard. You don't quit just because it's uncomfortable. That kind of mindset changes everything. It improves how you work, how you think, how you treat people, and how you treat yourself. You start respecting yourself more, not because you're perfect, but because you show up, even when it's tough. That's how self-confidence is built, not from talk, but from action that costs something. The discomfort you avoid today becomes the regret you carry tomorrow. That's the trade, and it's not worth it. You don't want to wake up years later wishing you had done more when you had the chance. You don't want to look back and realize you stayed comfortable while your potential waited on the other side of effort. You still have time. You still have opportunity. But you've got to stop protecting your comfort and start protecting your future. The clock is ticking, and comfort won't save you from the consequences of wasting time. So choose discomfort, not just once, every single day. Start where you are. Pick one thing that makes you hesitate, and do it anyway. That's how it begins. You'll feel resistance. You'll feel fear, but that's where growth lives. And when you show up and do what needs to be done, not what's easy, not what feels good, you build a different kind of life. A life that moves forward. A life that grows. A life where you don't just exist, you improve. That's what your potential is waiting for. But it can't grow until you do. Number 3. Comfort is the reason you're not making progress. It keeps you repeating the same day while expecting different results. When things get comfortable, your standards begin to slip. You lower the bar because nothing is forcing you to rise. You stop pushing, stop reaching, and settle into what feels okay. But okay is not where progress lives. Progress requires motion, and comfort often convinces you to stay still. It whispers that you're fine where you are. And once you start listening, the desire to stretch, to improve, and to grow starts fading without you even realizing it. Progress doesn't happen by chance. It happens by pressure. When you're too comfortable, you're not being tested. And when you're not being tested, you're not learning. That's why comfort can be dangerous. It doesn't feel wrong, but it's quietly pulling you away from your goals. It's easy to relax into patterns that keep you occupied but unfulfilled. You do enough to get by, but not enough to change. And as time passes, you begin to feel stuck, not because you're incapable, but because you chose routine over challenge. Comfort builds routines that don't demand your best. You keep showing up, but not with urgency, not with drive, just enough to get through the day. And if you live like that long enough, your goals begin to sound like wishes instead of plans. You lose that sharpness, that hunger, that clear direction that moves your life forward. Progress doesn't come from staying safe. It comes from doing something that requires effort, energy, and discipline. It demands more than you gave yesterday. Comfort won't ask that of you. That's why it holds you back. Comfort feels good for a moment, but leaves you with long-term cost. You trade improvement for ease. You trade momentum for stillness. Over time, you begin to wonder why nothing is changing, why your goals seem further away, why your energy is low and your motivation weak. It's not because you don't want more. It's because comfort removed the urgency to go get it. It numbs the voice inside you that tells you to move. That's how people drift away from their own potential, quietly day after day under the weight of comfort. There's nothing wrong with rest, but there's a difference between resting and staying stuck. Rest recharges. Comfort convinces. Comfort tells you to stay the same because growth takes work. It tells you to avoid anything that feels inconvenient or demanding. And if you believe it, you stop evolving. That's when time starts to pass without improvement. You begin to wonder where the weeks went, the months, the years. Progress doesn't disappear. It just shifts to someone else who was willing to take the hard steps while you stayed where it felt easy. Every time you take the easy option, you train yourself to tolerate less from life. You reinforce habits that don't challenge you. You avoid conversations, situations, and decisions that could have made you better. That's what comfort does. It hides the cost behind the convenience. It doesn't hurt all at once. It slowly chips away at your edge, your intensity, your sense of urgency. And one day you wake up realizing that you've gone too long without becoming the person you wanted to be. Not because you failed, but because you didn't push. The truth is, comfort makes you soft. It lowers your tolerance for struggle. It reduces your hunger for more. When you're too used to things being easy, anything difficult feels overwhelming. That's not because you're weak. It's because you stopped strengthening yourself. Progress is built through repeated exposure to challenge. It's built when you face something difficult and refuse to back down. But if you stay in comfort, you lose that skill. You stop trusting your ability to handle pressure. And without that trust, you stop taking the steps that lead to real growth. Real progress demands action that doesn't feel good at first. It might feel unfamiliar. It might feel heavy. But that's the exact place where growth begins. You don't need to make massive leaps. What you need is consistency in doing what feels uncomfortable. Not once, but every day. Comfort says, you've done enough. Growth says, you have more in you. It's that voice you've been ignoring. The one that keeps asking you to level up, to demand more, to finally act like your goals matter. You've heard it before. It's time to start listening. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to stop avoiding what you already know you should be doing. That one phone call you've been putting off. That one change to your routine you've resisted. That one habit that keeps draining your time. Pick one. Start there. Get uncomfortable. And stay there long enough to build strength. Once you prove to yourself that you can take action without comfort, you change the way you live. You stop depending on how you feel and start depending on what you said you'd do. If you keep chasing comfort, you will miss out on the life you were meant to build. Not because it's impossible, but because you never took the steps. And those steps were there every day, waiting for you to stop hesitating, waiting for you to stop holding back. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have. The truth is simple. Comfort is costing you progress. The only way forward is through consistent action. And consistent action only happens when you stop choosing what's easy and start doing what's right. Number 4. Your best self will never come from comfort. Growth comes from effort, discipline, and daily choices that push you beyond where you've been. When life becomes too easy, progress disappears. If everything feels relaxed and smooth, you're likely repeating habits, not building new ones. You won't discover your strength by staying inside routines that never challenge you. The best version of you is created when you do what's hard, when you sacrifice comfort to become stronger, wiser, and sharper. It's not found by sitting back. It's found by standing up and doing what's necessary, especially when it's uncomfortable to do so. Improvement doesn't show up in silence. It shows up in struggle. If you want to build confidence, you earn it by taking action when it's inconvenient. You prove to yourself that you're more than your feelings, that you don't quit just because something is uncomfortable. When you live too comfortably, you stop chasing the best version of you. You protect what's easy and avoid what's important. And before long, that avoidance becomes normal. And normal becomes the wall between who you are and who you could be. Progress never comes from protecting your comfort zone. The life you want requires effort that stretches you. Not once, but often. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Every part of you that improves, your mindset, your character, your habits, only improves when tested. If you avoid the test, you avoid the transformation. Most people stay the same for years because they stay comfortable for years. They know what to do, but they never act. Not because they can't, but because they choose comfort. And that choice becomes the habit that keeps them from evolving into the person they're capable of being. The best version of you is not buried under excuses. It's built through choices. Choices that don't feel great in the moment, but lead to long-term gain. You reach that version of yourself when you say yes to pressure and no to shortcuts. When you wake up tired and still do what needs to be done. When you're afraid but show up anyway. Those are the moments that sharpen your identity. Comfort will always try to pull you away from that. It convinces you to wait, to slow down, to settle for what's safe. The path to your best self is not glamorous. It's filled with repetition, sacrifice, and uncomfortable conversations with yourself. You'll question if it's worth it. You'll feel like quitting. But that's the cost of excellence. No one becomes better by accident. It takes discipline to reject comfort and chase improvement. It takes courage to keep going when it gets painful. And that pain becomes your power. Because every time you keep going, you build trust in yourself. You create a pattern of strength. That's what brings your best self to life. Not ease, but effort. Every great breakthrough comes after resistance, not before. If you never put yourself in positions that test your limits, how will you ever know what you're capable of? You'll never find your potential inside comfort. You'll find routines, predictability, and low standards, but not your best self. That version of you is forged in difficult seasons, in hard decisions, in the moments when quitting feels easier than continuing. But you continue anyway, and in those moments, you learn that you don't need comfort. You need clarity, consistency, and commitment to growth. You won't rise while staying soft. You won't level up by playing it safe. There's no strength in avoiding the work. If you want more out of life, you must become someone who expects more from yourself. Someone who stops chasing easy wins and starts building real victories. You build those by refusing to back down when things get uncomfortable. That's the habit that turns goals into achievements. That's the mindset that pushes you out of the average crowd and into the group of people who actually follow through. Comfort doesn't create impact. It creates delay. It teaches you to wait for the right time instead of using the time you already have. The best version of you needs you to stop waiting. It needs you to act while it's still hard, to move before it feels perfect. That's the only way forward. Your potential won't show up just because you want it to. It shows up when you work for it, day after day, quietly, without applause, without attention, just effort, real effort. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. You don't need a new plan. You need stronger follow-through. You need to decide that comfort no longer runs your life, that your goals matter more than your excuses, that your future means more than your current mood. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to improve. But improvement comes with cost, and that cost is discomfort. Not pain without purpose, discomfort with direction, pressure with progress. And it's worth it. Because you'll look back one day and realize the life you built didn't come from ease. It came from effort. So be honest with yourself. Have your habits been moving you forward or keeping you still? Are your actions aligned with the future you say you want? Or have you been protecting your comfort at the cost of your potential? You know the answer, and it's time to act on it. Start today. Do one thing that makes you uncomfortable. Then do it again tomorrow. Your best self is not a dream. It's a result. And that result starts the moment you stop choosing comfort and start building something greater with your own two hands. Number 5. Comfort zones look safe, but destroy your future. They convince you that staying the same is a good idea. They reward you with temporary relief while stealing long-term progress. From the outside, it seems harmless. Same routines, same habits, same decisions. But inside, something dangerous is happening. You're not growing. You're not evolving. You're not building the skills or strength required for the next level of your life. The comfort zone gives you a false sense of control. It says you're fine, but fine is not enough. Fine keeps you average. Fine keeps you away from everything you're capable of. When you live in a comfort zone, you trade ambition for stability. You avoid anything that might stretch you or shake you. You stop learning new things. You stop setting bold goals. You stop challenging your thinking. And after a while, your comfort zone becomes a prison. The door was never locked, but you stop trying to walk through it. And the worst part, you don't even notice it happening. 1 year turns into 2, 5 turns into 10. And one day you wake up realizing that most of your potential was wasted on staying safe. The illusion of safety is what traps most people. It makes you believe that avoiding risk means avoiding failure. But that's not how life works. Avoiding risk means you avoid experience. It means you avoid learning. It means you avoid finding out what you're truly capable of. Staying safe might protect you from discomfort today, but it guarantees disappointment tomorrow. Because the future doesn't belong to the ones who hide. It belongs to the ones who step out, make mistakes, learn fast, and keep going. The future favors the bold, not the comfortable. Growth never happens where everything is familiar. If you know how to do everything on your schedule, you're not improving. You're just repeating. Repetition without challenge leads to mental decay. You don't get stronger by doing what you've already mastered. You get stronger by doing what you haven't yet learned. But comfort zones make you forget that. They trick you into believing that doing enough is doing well, that meeting the bare minimum is acceptable. And once that mindset sets in, your standards drop. And when your standards drop, so does your future. Comfort zones also kill momentum. Every time you choose easy, you lose the edge that keeps you moving. And when momentum dies, motivation fades. You start feeling unfulfilled. You lose that fire to create, to push, to improve. But instead of changing your behavior, you blame the circumstances. You wait for inspiration. You tell yourself it's just a phase, but it's not a phase. It's a pattern. A pattern of choosing what's easy over what's necessary. And that pattern will quietly erase your progress if you don't wake up and break it. You don't need more time. You don't need better conditions. You need better choices. And those choices won't feel good at first. They'll feel uncomfortable. They'll require effort. But that's exactly the point. Your future demands more than your comfort zone is willing to give. It requires new thinking, new skills, new levels of personal discipline. None of those things grow in comfort. They grow in pressure. They grow in the grind. They grow in the decision to do what's needed, even when you don't feel ready, even when no one is watching, even when it's not convenient. The comfort zone feels safe because it's predictable. You know what's coming. You know what to expect. But that predictability also means you're not chasing anything greater. You're not taking on challenges that could change your life. You're not stretching into new possibilities. And that's the real loss. Because while you're staying safe, someone else is getting better. Someone else is practicing, learning, building, growing. Not because it's easy, but because they chose purpose over comfort. And that choice will separate people in the years ahead. Those who grow and those who watch from the sidelines. Your life will change when you decide to stop living at a comfortable pace, when you demand more from yourself, when you stop hiding behind the routines and actually confront your weaknesses. That's where growth lives, in the decision to face what you've avoided, to fix what you've ignored, to build what you've postponed. It won't be pleasant, but it will be worth it, because every uncomfortable step brings you closer to the person you want to become. And every day you avoid that step, you fall further into the trap of staying the same. Time does not care how safe you played it. Time does not reward caution. Time rewards action. If you spend your best years inside the bubble of comfort, you will miss opportunities you can never get back. You'll miss the chance to see what's possible. You'll miss the strength that comes from effort. And that's the real cost. Not failure, but regret. The kind of regret that comes from knowing you could have done more but didn't. You could have become more but stayed soft. You could have broken through but chose not to try. This is your chance to take control, to draw the line, and decide comfort will not define you. The future you want is not found in what feels good now. It's found in what stretches you, challenges you, and forces you to grow. It's time to build new habits, set higher standards, take on new responsibilities. Not when you feel ready, but now. Because your comfort zone may look safe, but it's quietly destroying your future. And the only way to stop that is to act. Not someday, not later. Right now, while you still have time to change. Number 6. The life you want starts outside your routines. The version of you that has everything you've been dreaming about won't appear by repeating the same daily habits that have kept you stuck. Routine has a purpose, but when it becomes automatic and unchallenged, it slowly turns into a cage. You stop thinking. You stop growing. You start living on autopilot, hoping something changes without actually doing anything different. You check off tasks without asking yourself if those tasks are even moving you forward. And before you know it, months go by and you're still in the same place. There's a moment where you have to be honest with yourself. Are your current habits leading to the results you truly want? Or are they just keeping you busy enough to avoid discomfort? Most people spend their lives repeating patterns they never chose. They follow a routine because it's familiar, not because it's useful. If the same choices keep showing up in your schedule, they'll produce the same outcome. And if you don't question those choices, you'll continue to live a life that feels small, even if you're working hard. Comfortable routines are deceptive. They give you structure, but they also limit you if they aren't updated. What worked for you 2 years ago might not work anymore. If your routine doesn't challenge your thinking, stretch your limits, or demand your attention, then you're not growing. The life you want requires new patterns, new ways of waking up, working, thinking, and committing. It requires you to break cycles that feel safe, but don't deliver results. Growth doesn't wait inside your comfort zone. It waits at the edge of what you're used to. Breaking free from your routine doesn't mean throwing your life into chaos. It means taking control. It means identifying where you're wasting time, where you're settling, and where you've gotten too comfortable. It's about adding pressure to the areas that have become soft. When you do that, you regain your hunger. You start moving with urgency. You start making decisions that have weight behind them. That kind of shift doesn't come from doing more of the same. It comes from stepping outside your default behavior and choosing better daily. Many people never change their routine because they're afraid of discomfort. They want results without change. They want transformation without inconvenience. But the truth is, everything you want lives beyond what's currently easy. You're not going to build a better life by maintaining patterns that no longer serve you. You have to disrupt them. You have to question them. You have to build new ones that align with where you're going, not where you've been. The difference between who you are and who you want to become is hidden in your daily decisions. Nothing in your life improves until your habits do. Your mindset, your income, your fitness, your relationships. Every area grows when you do something new that matches the future you're chasing. You can't stay stuck in the same cycle and expect new results to show up. That's not how change works. Growth is earned. It's built one new behavior at a time. One decision to do something hard instead of something easy. One moment of effort when you'd rather take a break. One focused hour when you feel distracted. These small shifts reshape your future. Your routine will either build your future or bury your potential. It's not about whether your schedule is full. It's about whether it's filled with the right things. You can be busy every day and still be getting nowhere. The goal is not activity, it's impact. That means you need to evaluate how you spend your time. What are you doing out of habit that no longer moves the needle? What are you postponing because it makes you uncomfortable? These are the questions that reveal the truth about your progress. The version of you that lives your dream life doesn't avoid pressure. That version embraces it. It creates a structure that demands effort and attention. It refuses to waste time on things that don't matter. And most importantly, it's not afraid to make bold changes. If you want to become that version of yourself, you have to step outside what feels familiar and start building something better. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop staying the same and start doing the uncomfortable work that leads to real change. It all starts with one decision. One moment where you choose to step beyond your routine and take control of your future. That decision might feel uncomfortable. It might feel inconvenient, but it will also feel right, because deep down you know what you've been doing isn't enough. You know that more is possible. You just haven't demanded it from yourself yet. And that changes now. Start today. Break one pattern that's holding you back. Replace it with one that pushes you forward. That's where momentum begins. That's where transformation starts. The life you want is not locked away. It's not unreachable. It's right outside your current routine, waiting for you to take the first uncomfortable step. Everything you're capable of lives beyond what you're currently doing. Don't waste another day repeating habits that have already proven they won't take you further. You have time. You have energy. You have choice. Use them. Use them to break free from comfort, from passivity, from routine. Build a life that reflects your highest standards, not your current habits. Because the future doesn't belong to the comfortable. It belongs to the committed. Number 7. Each time you avoid struggle, you delay your success. It doesn't always feel that way in the moment. But that's the truth. Struggle builds the skill. Struggle builds the mindset. Struggle builds the discipline. Without it, there's no foundation for success. If you keep running from the hard parts, you also run from the progress they bring. Every goal you have will demand a price, and that price comes in the form of discomfort, uncertainty, and pressure. If you avoid those things, you delay the growth required to handle the very success you're chasing. Avoiding struggle means avoiding the lessons too. Struggle is the training ground. It's where you figure out what you're made of. It's where you find out if you really want what you say you want. When things get tough, most people back away and wait for a better time. But there is no better time. Waiting only makes the struggle worse. The longer you delay it, the harder it becomes to face. And eventually you build a habit of avoidance. You start dodging the very actions that would change your life. And that delay doesn't just hold you back. It rewires your entire mindset. When you avoid the work, you stop trusting yourself. You say you want results, but you don't do what it takes. That kind of inconsistency eats away at your self-belief. You begin to doubt your own words. You begin to lower your standards to match your behavior. That's the slow death of progress. The moment you let comfort win, you stop becoming the person you could be. And that's the danger. The damage is invisible at first. You feel safe on the surface, but underneath your edge starts to disappear. Struggle isn't something to fear. It's something to face. It sharpens you. It teaches you. It humbles you. And in that process, it prepares you for what's next. Success isn't handed out. It's earned through pressure and persistence. You don't grow by avoiding resistance. You grow by walking through it. Each time you struggle through something hard, you become stronger, more focused, more capable. And with each challenge you conquer, your confidence grows. But if you hide from it, you lose momentum. You stay in place while time keeps moving forward. Avoiding struggle creates a false reality. You start convincing yourself that things will just work out eventually. That life will somehow reward you for waiting, but it doesn't. Life responds to action. The results you want are on the other side of the work you're trying to skip. There's no shortcut, no cheat code. You either do the work or you keep pretending. And pretending gets you nothing but disappointment. You can't fake growth. You can't fake commitment. You either show up and struggle for it, or you keep delaying what you say matters most. Struggle isn't punishment. It's proof. It proves you're trying. It proves you're in the game. If you're not struggling with something, you're probably not improving at anything. The people who win long-term aren't the ones who avoid struggle. They're the ones who accept it. They understand it's part of the path. They know it's not meant to break them. It's meant to reveal them. Every time you push through it, you come out clearer, stronger, and more prepared. Struggle is not the enemy. It's the process. When you avoid the challenge, you also avoid the breakthrough. You miss the lessons. You miss the development. You miss the chance to build character. Struggle forces you to think, to solve, to grow. It pulls the best out of you, if you let it. But too often, people want progress without effort. They want the rewards without the sacrifice. And that mindset keeps them stuck. You can't have both. You either take the hits and grow, or you avoid them and stay the same. There's no in between. Time moves fast. And if you keep putting off the work, you'll wake up one day and realize you've been waiting for too long. The future you want isn't going to wait for you to feel ready. It's not going to wait until you're comfortable. It's available now, but only to those who are willing to pay the price in effort and discomfort. If you want to build something real, something lasting, you've got to stop running. Stop delaying. Start facing what you've been avoiding. Success is not built in the easy moments. It's built when you're tired, but keep going. When you're unsure, but take action anyway. When you struggle and don't quit, that's where your potential starts to grow. That's where you separate yourself from the crowd. Most people won't go through it. They'll avoid it and stay average. But if you're willing to do the hard things consistently, you give yourself the chance to become something greater. Not overnight, but over time. Struggle is the path. It's not optional. It's necessary. So the next time you feel resistance, lean into it. Don't run from it. Don't make excuses. Don't look for comfort. Push forward. That's the moment your future starts to shift. That's the moment you start moving closer to your real potential. Each time you avoid struggle, you delay your success. But each time you face it, you move one step closer to everything you've been working for. Make today the day you stop delaying and start building. The life you want is waiting, and struggle is the price of admission. Number 8. Nothing changes when you stay in the same place. You can think about growth, you can talk about goals, and you can plan all you want. But if your actions remain the same, so will your life. Progress demands movement. It requires new choices, new behaviors, and new levels of personal responsibility. If you stay in one place, mentally, physically, emotionally, you remain the same person, repeating the same experiences. Change doesn't happen by chance. It happens when you do something different. When you push beyond your usual pattern and finally confront the areas you've been avoiding for too long. Staying in the same place might feel secure, but it's false security. The longer you stay there, the more you get used to the routine. It begins to feel normal. You forget what it's like to be challenged. You stop asking yourself hard questions. You avoid anything that disrupts the cycle. And before you realize it, comfort has turned into stagnation. Not because you can't change, but because you stopped moving. The longer you stay still, the harder it gets to imagine anything different. And when you lose imagination, you lose direction. Growth always demands you to leave where you are. Not physically, but mentally. You have to outgrow your old patterns, your outdated beliefs, your low expectations. The person you need to become is not found in your current habits. They're found in the discomfort of unfamiliar action. New experiences don't come to those who wait in place. They come to those who are willing to challenge what's been easy and replace it with what's effective. That process isn't comfortable, but it's necessary, because nothing worthwhile ever came from staying the same. People wait too long for things to happen. They wait for motivation. They wait for the right time. They wait until they feel ready. But that waiting becomes a habit. And that habit becomes the reason why nothing ever shifts. You don't need to wait for a perfect moment to grow. You need to move before you feel prepared. Action first, clarity later. That's how momentum is created. That's how progress becomes visible. Not from standing still, but from showing up, taking risks, and pushing your limits a little further each day. When you stay in the same place, you stop challenging your standards. You settle for what's familiar instead of striving for what's possible. You begin to tolerate things that once bothered you. You lower your urgency. You accept results that don't match your potential. And all of it feels normal because you've done it long enough. But normal doesn't mean right. And just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's helping you. Sometimes what feels comfortable is actually the very thing that's holding your life back from real change. Staying still also blinds you to opportunity. When you live in the same cycle, you stop noticing what's around you. Your awareness gets dull. Your instincts weaken. You miss chances that could have shifted your direction. You ignore signs that it's time to adjust. And over time, your goals fade into the background. They become dreams you once cared about, but no longer pursue. Not because you don't want them, but because you convinced yourself that where you are is good enough. That mindset kills potential faster than failure ever could. Change demands courage. It asks you to let go of the identity you've been protecting. It asks you to admit that your current habits aren't enough. That's not easy to face, but it's the truth. If you're serious about building a better future, you have to stop standing in place. You have to stop running the same loop and expecting new results. The only way out is forward. And forward means effort. Forward means discomfort. Forward means facing your excuses and replacing them with responsibility. That shift is what creates growth that lasts. You have more in you than your current routine allows. You have more potential than your current lifestyle demands. The reason you feel stuck isn't because you lack talent. It's because you're not applying pressure. You're not challenging your limits. You're living inside a comfort zone that rewards you with short-term ease and robs you of long-term fulfillment. That exchange is never worth it. Not when your goals are real. Not when your purpose matters. Staying still might keep you safe, but it will never make you strong. And strength is what you need to move forward. You don't have to know everything to start. You just have to stop doing nothing. Start with one change, one adjustment to your schedule, one uncomfortable decision, one honest conversation. Small movements create momentum. Momentum creates confidence, and confidence gives you the power to keep going. But none of that happens until you take the first step. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Move anyway. Move because your future deserves better than repetition. Move because your life can't change if you don't. This is your time to break the cycle. You've stayed in the same place long enough. You've seen what it produces. You've felt what it's like to be stuck. Now it's time to experience what it's like to grow, to evolve, to take control. The results you want won't come from standing still. They'll come from movement, from action, from courage. The life you're capable of living is out there, but only if you leave where you are. Nothing changes when you stay in the same place. Everything changes when you finally decide to move. Number 9. If life feels easy, you're probably not improving. Progress isn't found in convenience. It's found in resistance. When everything around you is simple, predictable, and effortless, it means you're not asking enough of yourself. You're repeating, not rising. You're maintaining, not building. Real growth doesn't feel smooth. It feels like effort. It feels like early mornings, uncomfortable conversations, mental tension, and physical discipline. When life gets too comfortable, you stop developing. You settle into routines that require little energy and no risk, and that comfort slowly lowers your potential while making you believe everything is fine, just the way it is. Easy doesn't lead to mastery. It doesn't sharpen your mind or toughen your character. It keeps you where you are. It keeps your actions small and your vision narrow. If you're not feeling stretched, if you're not being challenged, you're not getting stronger. Improvement demands more than just intention. It demands difficulty. It's not about being busy. It's about choosing hard tasks that force you to adapt, grow, and push beyond what you've already done. If your days are flowing without friction, it's likely that nothing new is being built inside you. Every person who has created something meaningful has walked through seasons of difficulty. Not because they loved the struggle, but because they understood that strength doesn't come without sacrifice. If your day feels easy from start to finish, ask yourself this: what am I avoiding? What have I stopped doing because it was uncomfortable? Avoidance feels safe, but it's the quiet killer of growth. You don't notice the damage at first, but it adds up. Each skipped effort, each soft excuse, each delayed action chips away at the future you were meant to build. Growth is never passive. You don't stumble into a better version of yourself. You build it with action. And action, when done right, will stretch you. It will test your patience. It will reveal your weaknesses. And that's exactly why it's powerful. If everything feels easy, you've probably stopped engaging at the level required to grow. You've settled into habits that don't challenge you. And when challenge disappears, so does transformation. If you want more, you have to expect more from yourself. And that means doing what most people are unwilling to do every single day. When you choose easy, you stop evolving. And over time, easy becomes normal. You start to think that effort is a sign of failure, when in fact it's the sign of someone who's becoming more. A life of ease is not the same as a life of purpose. Purpose pushes you. It demands energy and commitment. It takes you to places that don't feel comfortable. But that's where progress lives. Staying too comfortable dulls your instincts and lowers your personal standards. If you're not struggling with something, chances are you're not growing at all. There's a difference between peace and laziness. Peace comes from alignment with your goals. Laziness comes from avoiding the pressure needed to achieve them. If every decision you make is based on comfort, then you've made comfort your priority. Not growth, not progress, not excellence. The truth is, what feels easy now will cost you later. What you avoid today becomes the regret you carry into tomorrow. But what you struggle through today becomes the confidence you carry into the next level. If life feels too smooth, it's time to raise your standards again. The path of improvement will never be without discomfort. You can't learn discipline from ease. You can't develop resilience without challenge. And you can't reach your full capacity by taking the path of least resistance. If everything in your life is flowing without challenge, then nothing is shifting. And if nothing is shifting, your future is being built on the same foundation as your past. That's not how real change works. Real change feels like pressure. It feels like doubt. It feels like pushing through the days when your motivation is gone, but your commitment stays. Ease can feel like freedom, but it becomes a trap. It conditions you to expect results without effort. It teaches you to fear the very struggle that would build you. If you start removing all challenge from your path, you'll also remove your opportunity to evolve. And then you'll wonder why nothing is changing, why you feel stuck, why your goals feel distant. The answer will always be the same. You stopped doing the hard things. You stopped chasing improvement and started protecting comfort. And comfort does not produce success. You have to earn the next level of your life. It doesn't come through luck. It doesn't come through comfort. It comes through consistent work that challenges you. That work won't always feel good. It might feel exhausting, but it's necessary. If life feels easy, don't celebrate, evaluate. Ask yourself where you've gotten too relaxed. Where have you lowered the pressure? Where have you let off the gas? Because improvement doesn't happen by accident. It's a deliberate pursuit, and that pursuit requires that you get uncomfortable on purpose every day. You don't need to chase pain, but you do need to chase growth. And growth by its nature requires you to do what you've never done, to face what you've always avoided, to go where you haven't gone before. That's how progress is made. That's how potential is reached. Not by repeating what's easy, but by committing to what's difficult. If life feels easy right now, you need to ask yourself what you've stopped doing, because improvement lives in discomfort. And if you're not improving, you're not moving forward. You're simply staying in place while time keeps passing. Number 10. Growth begins the moment you stop playing it safe. As long as you keep protecting yourself from failure, challenge, or rejection, you remain stuck in a limited version of your life. Playing it safe might keep you from embarrassment, but it also keeps you from transformation. You don't discover who you are by doing what's easy. You find your strength when you do what's difficult, when you take risks that require courage. Playing small feels familiar, but it also feels frustrating, because deep down you know there's more in you. That more doesn't show up until you break through hesitation. Most people live inside a comfort loop. They make just enough effort to stay afloat, but not enough to break through. Playing it safe becomes a lifestyle, a series of predictable choices made to avoid discomfort. But improvement has never come from doing what's predictable. It comes from shaking things up, trying something bold, making decisions that scare you a little. That's where growth begins. Not when you're ready, but when you're willing to stop letting fear drive your choices. Safe decisions might protect your ego, but they never elevate your life. Avoiding risk doesn't protect your future. It limits it. Every time you hold back, you miss a chance to grow. You miss the opportunity to get better, to sharpen your thinking, to stretch your potential. Playing it safe becomes the reason you don't advance. You convince yourself that you're being wise, but wisdom without action becomes wasted knowledge. The moment you stop hiding behind your comfort is the moment you begin building something meaningful. Until then, you're just surviving. You're not creating. You're maintaining a version of yourself that's far smaller than what you're capable of. Growth is uncomfortable by design. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to press you into moments where you question your limits and realize they weren't real. You don't need to be reckless, but you do need to be brave. You need to do things that put your pride on the line. You need to chase goals that might not work right away. Playing it safe is how people waste years thinking they're improving, when they're really just avoiding discomfort. The only way forward is through effort. Not safe effort, real effort. The kind that tests who you are. There's always a cost to avoiding risk. The cost is growth. You can't improve without putting yourself in situations that demand more from you. Playing it safe removes those demands. It keeps you in familiar territory, but familiarity doesn't build new results. It builds more of the same. You don't need more comfort. You need more challenge. You need days that feel difficult, conversations that require honesty, decisions that carry weight. That's what shapes your future. That's what builds the person you're meant to become. But none of it starts until you stop protecting yourself from discomfort. Playing it safe also keeps your standards low. When you're not risking anything, you're not raising the bar. You're not expecting excellence. You're settling for average. And after a while, average becomes acceptable. You stop demanding more from yourself. You stop chasing growth because you forget what it feels like to fight for something. Safe choices make you passive, and passivity erases progress. It turns bold goals into background noise. Before long, you're no longer driven by your future. You're just trying to avoid failure. That mindset might feel smart, but it's the real reason progress disappears. There's no breakthrough in playing it safe. You'll never look back on your life and be proud of the moments you avoided taking a chance. You'll be proud of the moments you stepped up, the times you acted without a guarantee, the days you did what needed to be done, even when you were uncertain. That's where confidence is built, not through comfort, but through courage. Every safe choice takes you further from that feeling. It makes you smaller, quieter, and more hesitant. But every bold choice pushes you forward, and forward is where growth lives. You don't need to take massive risks to grow. You need to take consistent, purposeful action that feels uncomfortable. You need to speak when it's easier to stay quiet. Start something when it's easier to wait. Push harder when it's easier to relax. That's how you train your mind to handle pressure. That's how you become the kind of person who doesn't settle. Safe living creates soft minds, and soft minds crumble under real pressure. If you want to grow, you must stop protecting your comfort and start challenging your limits on purpose. Growth will never feel safe. It's not supposed to. You're stepping into something you've never done before. Of course it feels risky, but that risk is what unlocks your next level. The question is, are you willing to give up safety for strength? Are you willing to stop avoiding failure so you can learn how to win? Most people aren't. That's why they stay the same. But you don't have to. You can choose differently. You can stop playing it safe. You can start living in a way that creates real change, not just comfortable repetition. This is the shift that unlocks everything. It doesn't require perfection. It requires bravery. The kind of bravery that shows up daily, in small decisions. You stop playing it safe when you stop living to avoid pain, and start living to pursue purpose. The moment you do that, you create space for growth. You stop looking for the easy path, and start building the strong one. You begin to move, to stretch, to evolve, and that's where your true potential is waiting. Not behind safe routines, but on the other side of risk and responsibility. If you've made it this far, it means something in you is ready to change, and that's where it starts. Not with a big move, but with one decision to stop living in comfort and start living with intention. Nothing about staying safe will ever make you stronger. Growth demands discomfort. It demands challenge, and it demands that you rise above your own excuses. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be honest. Ask more of yourself. Push when it's easier to pause. Show up when no one's watching. That's where your potential lies. Your future is waiting, but it won't wait forever. Don't let comfort keep you where you've always been. Make the choice to grow right now, because from this point forward, everything changes when you stop protecting comfort and start building the life you were meant to live. The next move is yours. Make it count.